Do you
I'm
you
gonna, all right, so now it's recording. And so Ryan is going to interview Stacey. So, Jenny, do you mind to turn your camera off or stop the video? You know what I mean?
How about that?
There you go.
and it might not even impact if they don't, because
Right.
all you can see is it up at the top.
Exactly. Okay. Well, let me get my questions pulled up here. All right.
I'm a young college student, just so you know.
Okay, so thank you very much for taking the time to meet with me today. I'd like to talk with you about the future of, the space program and my future as somebody going into that field. So can you tell me maybe a little bit about your professional background?
So I actually grew up in Huntsville, Alabama, and I was exposed to space at space camp there. And from that, I developed a passion for space. And so I entered into the University of Florida space program. And then from there, I've come to this university where I'm now teaching.
So can you maybe also tell me about the first time you knew you wanted to pursue a career in astronautical technology?
Well, that was my first summer at space camp. If you've ever gotten to go to Huntsville and attend, I know lots of sixth grade students across the U.S. get to do that. And I got exposed to things that I didn't even know was imaginable. You can go there and simulate ride in spaceships. And it was from that my passion for space industry really developed.
So when did you feel like you wanted to go down the academic side? When did you know you wanted to teach?
Well, I have a passion for learning, and helping other people pursue their degrees has always been something that's been important to me. And so getting to do what I love and teach is a win-win because I get to do it's twofold. So this teaching's just always been a passion of mine.
So with the current changes in the government and NASA priorities, do you think that space exploration is still a national priority for the government?
I think that the government and the space system will always go hand in hand, and it will always be our future. And there will always be struggles. There will always be resistance, but the space program throughout the decades has always come out strong. And we know that future exploration is on the horizon, and the program has nowhere to go but up, so to speak.
Do you think that their mission has changed?
I don't
NASA's
think the
mission?
I don't think the mission has changed at all, but I do think that how we approach, and especially with competition, the global competition, and knowing that space travel is going to become more and more common in the future, then we look at different customer from a customer aspect more so than we looked at it as an industry before.
Do you think that there are advantages to moving to the commercialized space travel?
Oh, absolutely, because the commercialism will create competition, and competition always helps to fuel industry.
And what do you see, if any, disadvantages of moving to commercialized space travel?
Well, there's always pros and cons and risks that come associated with that. And I'm sure in the media you've read about the large ticket price to go to space right now. You know, only millionaires and billionaires are able to afford that. But the goal would be that just like as common as flying in an airplane is today, as opposed to what that looked like in the 1940s and 50s, that within the next 100 years, it will be just as common to fly to space.
Well, that leads great into my next question. I was just gonna ask, what do you see like tourists in space looking like? Do you think it's really going to be like Disneyland on the moon, or
Maybe not so much Disneyland because the risk will be much higher as you travel in a space suit in a space shuttle. I think the best approach to take is going to be from an educational one, that we go there to learn and we go there to seek. with open-mindedness and knowing that, how do we preserve what we have here on Earth and the resources we have here through our space program.
And how do you think the commercialization of space travel could affect the prospective job market for somebody like me?
Well, currently in the US, we have a shortage of engineers and we have a shortage of pilots. And both of those career fields are highly sought after in NASA and in this industry. And so if you are pursuing engineering, or you want to be a pilot or go into the Air Force or some sort of military background, then there's a place for you at NASA.
Thank you for your time. I really appreciate you taking the time to counsel me and talk about the future of space.
Absolutely, anytime. And if you'd like to follow back up or speak about this more, you have my number, reach out to me.
I will. Thank you. Okay, so that didn't go too poorly.
How much time was that? Because I don't have a timer, so I couldn't see.
I didn't even look.
It should
was
tell
certainly
you.
5 minutes, wasn't it? Oh.
Okay.
Let's see. Recording. It just says recording. I don't see a countdown or anything.
I tried to watch, but gosh, Stacey, you're doing so dang good that
Yeah.
I don't know. I lost track and I didn't see the time.
I don't ride roller coaster rides. I would never be in a space program, so I just.
Okay, so
but I have worked conferences with astronauts.
Okay.
And so they're a unique set of people. Mississippi has a huge feeder program into the U.S. Air Force here, and we have a huge Air Force base in Columbus, and they feed a lot of pilots into NASA. It's kind of how I know some of all that, because I work in safety. I work for Toyota, and I do risk management and safety for Toyota. So,
gotcha.
Some of that's my language.
Okay, so I interviewed. Yeah, you pulled it off very well.
We're good.
I interviewed Stacey. So Stacey, do you want to go ahead and interview Jen or Jenny? Excuse me. Sorry.
Either way. Either one.
Okay. All right. Has it started?
Yeah, it's been going. Okay. So.
All right. Professor Cravens, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity today. I just have a couple of questions that I wanted to ask you to really help me clarify if I'm going into the right field or not. Yes, so, being a female, there aren't a lot of opportunities to meet other females in this role because the industry is so heavily male dominated. So can you kind of share with me some of how you as a female even selected this as a field?
I started, actually, I wanted to do a private pilot's license, and I was going to just fly privately for corporate businesses. And got to talking with some of my passengers who actually are from Alabama and have been into the space program, and they said that there is a huge need for females. They actually have programs now geared toward females, like you mentioned, or like someone has mentioned in Space Camp. They actually have programs to bring in, starting from the 8th grade, and then all through high school. We recognize the need for females and pilots in general, so we really try to reach out to the younger generations to bring them in.
That's really exciting, and it's really an honor to even get to work with you this closely already, and I appreciate all that you've done. But I'm sure that it wasn't easy. So can you kind of share with what's been some of the biggest struggles or the conflict that you've had to overcome? Like, have you hit walls? Have there been times when you just wanted to quit and you just thought, this is not for me?
Oh, absolutely. I have a really strong support system at home. A lot of these programs do require some overnight stays or week-long camps, and that really for me was the hardest. I'm not much of a traveler. I find it very hard to be away from home and out of my comfort zone, and I'm not a very outgoing person by nature. I've had to learn a lot of those things along the way. And being in groups of people who have the same goals really helped me come out of my shell and really get to know others, to be able to flourish in that environment. They're not going to leave anyone behind. They know that everyone's there for the same purpose, and that's just to learn and to explore. So even if you're feeling down, if you're there for a couple of days and overnights, you have plenty of chances to call your family. They actually have a day each month that family can come in and visit and see your progress and what you're doing.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't know that. So that's really good. Do you know, are there some existing camps or clubs, I guess, that I could become a part of here on campus already? Do those already exist?
They do. Not only the clubs and the camps that you pay for, we also have several volunteer programs. If you want to come, if you live close by and you just want to come during the day, just to kind of get to feel it out and get to know the volunteers and the teachers and instructors, you can do that as well.
Okay. And then here's the $1 million question. Is the money worth the work?
The money is worth the work, but honestly, it's the accomplishment that I've done for myself. And I say for myself because, again, I have a very strong support system at home and a very, very tight knit family. However, this is something that I pursued and really dove into 100%. I've applied myself and I got to where I'm at because I have that drive. So you do have to have some self motivation, but that's what's worth it to me.
Thank you, Professor Cravens. I appreciate you sharing this information with me today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Uh-oh, I'm muted. Are you there?
No, I heard you. Yeah.
Good. Okay.
How long was that? Can you tell?
You all started at 19 and ended at 24. So that was perfect.
Okay.
Why am I so nervous even talking to you on Zoom?
No, it's good. Just wing it.
Uh-oh,
yeah, I'm not going to make up answers near as good as you all are. Or like, I mean, I'm not, I know like next to nothing about space. Last semester, I took a astronomy class and I was just like, this is cool. And, but you know, I didn't know anything.
It's okay.
It is quite all right. So I need to be the student.
Right. So you need to interview me. Right.
Okay. All right. You ready?
Whenever you are.
All right, Ryan. Welcome. Nice to see your face. I'm glad you're here with me today.
Me too.
Can you, Professor, tell me about what brought you into this field of study?
Well, I just think about the time when I was a kid and laying in the backyard with my brother looking up at the stars, and there was always something that fascinated me about that kind of stuff. I think that, you know, watching, I mean, this is going to sound corny, but watching Star Wars as a kid, there was always a fascination with what was out there and what's up there. And, you know, Star Wars was a fun little fictional story, but it really made me focus on wanting to know what was really out there and what I could really pull down from the heavens.
Awesome. And how long have you been a professor now?
This is my 8th year of teaching. I spent a lot of time in Florida with NASA before that. I'd spent a lot of time down there, but then really realized that teaching was probably my calling. I love being able to speak to the next generation of engineers coming up in the program, and hopefully I can mentor them and help them achieve their goals and aspirations.
I would love to come join, but I've seen some news about where the space programs have been cutting back. Do you think there will still be room for someone like me, just maybe coming out of college in about 2 years?
Absolutely. Like, it's going to look different. The ways to get into these types of programs are going to change, but I think that with the advent of the commercialization of space travel, that is actually going to provide more jobs than the traditional route. Mostly you would be going into Air Force things or something with the military, or if you were getting into NASA directly or working for Boeing or one of the major manufacturers of this kind of equipment. Now, instead of just NASA being the only game in town with space travel, you're going to have other companies that are doing this. So they're going to need more people than NASA would have just initially.
Okay. With space travel, I know the goal is to discover what else is out there. Do you think there is still time and it's still worth discovering space before we can even help our own planet? I'm wondering if I really need to take my focus back home first.
Well, I mean, finding your own passion and where you fit in is definitely something that I'm happy to help talk you through. But I will also say that I completely agree with you that like we need to do work that is going to preserve our planet Earth. And I think sometimes people can get this confused that, oh, we want to go to Mars because it's like we've trashed Earth and we're ready to go trash another planet. Space travel and the not just space travel but the exploration of space can influence a lot and give us more knowledge of how our world works, especially things like with the atmosphere and all the rest of that. This is knowledge that can definitely impact and affect the ways that we combat climate change. So there is work to be done in this field that is complementary of one thing. And I like to say we can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can go to Mars and we can save Earth.
Perfect. If I may, I have one last question. What would a typical day for me look like with your organization? What would my task be for a brand new member?
In the program that I'm
Yes.
teaching, or in the where I used to work?
And currently what you're teaching. If I come in and I'm learning the field under your supervision.
Well, I like to do as much hands-on work as I can. I really encourage people to spend as much time as they can in the lab. I try to come up with engaging and interesting labs for students to work with. I've got a few connections, and I like to have people come in and do talks to not just talk about the industry, but really talk about the subjects that we're covering in class. If I can, I like to take people during the summer and show them where I used to work, and go through that kind of stuff. So I'm really big with hands-on experience, as much as is possible in a lab setting.
Okay. Sounds great. Thank you so much for your time today.
You're very welcome.